This particular episode, I'm going to be speaking with a chap by the name of Luke Canham, and he's got a terrific business, and it's called Multiply Me. You can go check it out at multiplyme.com.au. But the reason that I wanted to speak to Luke is that I've been a business coach for a long, long time, and the effectiveness of a business is often comes from the ability to communicate consistent ways of doing things. And when somebody leaves and somebody else has to be in charge of teaching that person how to replace them, or even if you've got a bunch of people that need to be creating the same outcome, but each person does it a bit differently, it creates inconsistency. It creates problems that harms profit. It harms the client experience. There's a lot of negativity that can come from inconsistency. Plus, there's a ton of time wasted with a one-to-one person trying to do training or explaining how a process works. So Luke's business basically on their website says, never explain it again, which sounds bloody good to me. And, you know, I've been involved in video production and audio engineering in past lives and all that sort of stuff. So everything that Luke's business does is of interest to me. I hope it's of interest to you. And I'd like to welcome Luke to our conversation. How are you going, Luke? Great to have you with us.
Thank you, Mick. Lovely introduction. All very true what you've just said there. That's something I've learned over my time, that the better we can train people, the better the whole outcome for the business.
Yeah. So let's wind the clock back because, you know, the primary purpose of our discussion is to get to know you. Like with all of the people with the different businesses we talk to in the tool shed, I think it's really important to get to know the person and their purpose and their mission and just their story, really. So tell me how you got involved in, well, video for starting, and then how it sort of narrowed its focus down to basically just being in the building industry.
Yep. It was actually the other way around. I'm actually a carpenter. And
okay.
I just did my carpentry apprenticeship. Then I had a fall off a couple of ladders one day when I was putting on some fascia and gutter. This was out in central New South Wales, and when I fell, I thought there's got to be a better way to put fascia, gutter, trusses on tops of houses. And we didn't have a scaffolding solution in the town that I was in, so it was just walk around the top plates or, you know, do the one plank on two ladders, as I'm sure most people have done. When I hit the ground, I thought, I want to do something about this. I don't want to see myself and people that come after me falling off heights on residential construction. So I designed a new scaffolding system called Edge Deck, which I brought to market. I commercialized, franchised internationally as well. And I had hundreds of people working for me. And I had to learn that the best solution for my business to grow was to be able to train people faster and effectively without using my time. Then there was a couple of major accidents I had in my business. Unfortunately, one man was electrocuted and another man fell down a stair void. So that also gave me exposure to an experience of an accident investigation in a high risk, fast-paced construction industry. 10 years of mitigation to find the answers, and that process, that if a business is constantly innovating, developing training, delivering the training, document what they're doing, and then reviewing it, and then doing it all again, and it's just a continual cycle, that's what our safety bodies are after. And they weren't there to string me up over the accident after they'd seen how I was, running my business. And I felt that during that process of just trying to keep my own business trained and safe, that was what the authorities wanted to see. So, look, I won't go much into those accidents now, but that's where a lot of my mission has come from now, was to how can I provide training to the construction industry, is where I started primarily, but now it's spread across all industries. And how can we document that really fast and deliver it to our people like super fast in a way that they can consume and not keep delivering 100-page documents that no one reads. You mentioned before, how did I come to use a video? I've had a video camera with me since I was a little kid. I've always been into action sports. If I was on a motorbike or a jet ski, there was a GoPro strapped to me. So I've always enjoyed it. And I basically just put the two together. And it came from I was business coaching as well. I've been doing that for about 8 years as a sideline, and something to give back to people that are about to go in my journey.
Yeah. So just getting back to the 100-page document that nobody reads, that just brings me back to a conversation I was having with two principals of a real estate agency long time ago, and they were telling me about their problems, and it was obvious to me that there was an absence of systems and procedures in their business, and I basically suggested, there needs to be some systems and procedures documented to follow to create this consistency and avoid these problems. And one of the principals reeled back in his chair with just shock. And I've basically, you didn't have to be a Rhodes Scholar in body language to pick up what was going on in this case. And I just asked him what was going on. And long story short, not even a year ago, they'd paid a consultant to come into their business to write all of these procedures. Cost them $50,000. It was in a beautiful leather-bound folder up on the shelf, just collecting dust. No one even knew it existed, other than the person that had to pay for it. What is the difference in what you do? Like, how does that impact the people who are consuming the training? Like, it makes sense for the business owner to have that because it's quick. Visual is better than reading and all of those sorts of stuff. But what have you noticed is the difference in how it is consumed by the people who need to know how to perform that task or that process?
Yeah, it's a really good question. Look, when I speak with a business, I basically say that you're going to have documents in place already. We're not here to remove that out of the way. We're here to look at the process that you have and work out possibly the main parts of the process that continually get forgotten or they're lost in translation. And they're the types of videos that we want to make. So we don't need to go through and train someone how to do their job. Most people in their position have an understanding, although we can do full training, but that's not primarily what we're doing. It's grabbing the small things that you're constantly training, reminding your people to do, and turning those into short, powerful, bite-sized videos, and having them ready on a platform to send out and assign when you know your people are going to do that particular task, or they can self-educate and they're going to do something and say, hey, I'm going to search the company library, how to do such and such, and they get a quick video, because people learn as they're about to do something.
Yeah.
And that's why YouTube has become so explosive, because we can grab anything as we're doing the action, and we can also watch the video, do the task, and refer back to video and keep going. And if we don't do that task again for 6 months, we still have the video to prop us up.
Yeah. I mean, how do you go about capturing the content? Because I could just imagine, having done it a lot myself, and just even getting testimonials, video testimonials from people, as soon as there's a camera or a microphone shoved in their face, they just change. Like, Some people turn into a 60 minutes interview, and some people some people are really embarrassed and nervous or whatever, but they just change. So have you got some wisdom to share with us as to how you go about relaxing people, or do you use actors, or do you use the actual people in the business when you're creating?
Yep, 100% always the people in the business. And our model is not to use professional videographers. We work with business owners, or someone in the business has been delegated to work with us. We help them identify the types of videos that are going to make an impact in the business, where they might save face-to-face training, they might eliminate toolbox talks, and then we help them use their own mobile phone to shoot the videos user-generated style. So there's no cost for the videographers, and it makes this a very long-term, cost-effective solution that businesses can implement. And because people can take a video on their phone, people are doing that already. They're taking video to the park with their kids on the weekends and all that type of thing. Yes, I agree, people freeze up a little when they go to make a training video, but I guess with our process, we do a little bit of work with our business owners, and we get them ready to make those videos. And it's not about being 100% perfect with these. The way our videos are made are the way that you would explain it to someone standing next to you.
Just trying to change my screen there.
That's okay.
For some reason, my buttons aren't as cooperative as they normally are. But you mentioned that it also goes into a library,
Yes.
and like using my analogy, or it wasn't even an analogy, it was a true story of the dusty folder on the shelf. Procedures and processes are about as useful as the people implementing them, and they could be the best procedure sitting on the shelf that never gets used. They're useless. What have you learnt, and how do you structure the library or the accessibility of the instructions that are created on video, so people can, number one, access them when they need to, and number two, I guess, be able to consume it and use it while they're doing that function.
Yep.
How do you do all of that?
Yes. So look, the best way to describe our platform is a YouTube for your business. And then on our platform, there's a lot more that you can break down than you can on your YouTube channel. We can create groups of people. So you might have, say if you've got a construction business, you might have your carpenters, and you might have your plumbers, or those sorts of groups. Then you can assign people to each group, and then you can assign training modules to each group. And I'll just take one step back, Mick. When we help people take a video on their phone, they submit that on the platform to us, and we actually do an edit on that. And we brand the video. We can pull out any of the stuff that doesn't make sense, or there were some mistakes. And then we put it into a custom brand training module with a sign-off page and an assessment. So that is the bit that goes back into the library. And then our business owners can deploy those modules. When they're sent out, everybody that's part of the company is on the app, and they watch the training on their app, and then it sort of collects their sign electronically. There's a lot of people using them for toolbox talks instead of having, a lot of the smaller detail that you might use up a staff meeting or a toolbox talk for, like, put your hard hat on, put your sunscreen on. A lot of this smaller repetitive training and explaining can be put into videos and then scheduled on the system so it goes out once a month. And what our businesses are doing are organising their staff so there's a time of day or a time of week where they check their account, they go through the videos, do all the training, and it obviously logs into the training account and tells the company that it's been completed.
Yeah. Wow, it sounds very sophisticated, but I'm assuming it's simple to use.
It's very simple on the interface. There's not much there, and that's something why I went in to design this platform. was because I looked at some of the training platforms on the market, and I didn't feel that they were for a fast-paced construction business. They had a lot of tools, bells and whistles, and you needed a 3-month apprenticeship to learn how to drive the software. And a lot of people don't know how to edit their videos or want to.
Yeah.
So we've put together a really easy platform, an editing service, and we can coach the business how to make the videos. There's really nothing left to try and understand.
So you provide the editing service as well, I'm assuming. So can they do it themselves if they want to?
100%.
So they can do either or, because I think that's probably the biggest challenge that I've come across with our members in Black Belt with videoing is if they do it themselves, it takes, forever. And it'd be great to be able to have a platform where you can just upload your videos and you've got people who obviously have been doing it all of the time that can make it be a really watchable and usable video.
Yeah. Comfortable for viewing, we call it. People can send us through 20 small clips, and there's obviously going to be a step or a procedure document we would need to come with that, and then we can edit the video. But all of that's managed inside the platform. There's an area there to identify the particular training videos that need to be made. Then there's an area for developing. So there's a project management tool, and then there's a button where you submit. It comes through to our editors, and they give instructions on what they would like done to the video.
Wow.
And like you said, if somebody wants to do their own edit and bring their own videos in, they can just use the platform. We actually have a free service to upload your video onto the platform into the training module. We don't charge for it.
Wow, that's perfect.
The platform's obviously subscription based.
Yeah.
Once you're on there as a member, it's super low cost compared to what's on the market, but we don't charge to put your videos straight on.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting just to talk about the charges because
definitely we need to know that.
Yeah, it video often sort of strikes fear in the heart of the business owner because in the past it's been so expensive, particularly if you're bringing videographers in and sound people and all of the editing and what have you. It can be thousands and thousands of dollars to create quite a short video. So having video for all your procedures, you'd think it's going to cost an absolute mozza. So how has your model sort of taken away that cost problem?
That is exactly why the model's there. So obviously being a carpenter, I've been on anywhere from $35 to $60 an hour most of my life. Obviously then went into the scaffolding business, but when I went to have a look at videographers, it's $150 to $200 an hour minimum just for someone to come and swing the camera, and you need to do all of the work and get things right. So there's no way that a construction business or an electrician or anyone's going to make video training. Exactly why we're here. So we will teach and support somebody to make their own videos for free. It doesn't cost anything. Then when someone can make their videos and upload them to us, if that video can be put straight into a module, and we don't believe in perfection. We don't need it to be perfect. It needs a positive, clear message. Otherwise, we're going to spend those thousands of dollars, like you said, and we don't want people to spend that. So the video creation process is actually free. When you want to start to build, I guess, a more technical video where there might be 20 different steps and you're going to have to take video from the field on a computer screen and then particular objects, we have a process called a positive prompt strategy, and it helps someone work out the steps. We help them understand what shot needs to be taken, and all that's detailed down. They upload the videos and we edit the video according to the PPS. Now, those video creation styles can be anything from, $70 up to a few $100s. So, you can go higher if you want to, but we don't recommend for a lot of the internal training in construction-based businesses, you don't need to spend big money.
Yeah. The time taken to do a video and like the preparing for it and all of that sort of stuff, I'd like for you to sort of outline what that might take, for a standard, what you see as a standard training video, because I think it's really important to help the listener understand that, okay, it might take a little bit of time and it might take a little bit of preparation, but the time that is saved in the future, like this is the return on investment in this sort of stuff can be staggering when you put your pencil to it. So what sort of time could you, would you need to be prepared to put into creating one training video from sort of start to finish, and then we can talk about what that might save.
Yeah. Okay. So I just worked with I'm still working with a large scaffold company, which is they're New South Wales and Victoria based. I sat with the GM and the next in charge. I showed them what we were doing, and they said, "Yeah, we're in. We'll make some videos." And we were going to book a second day, and they couldn't find a particular day. So I said, "Let's go and make it now." It took us 15 minutes to have a look at the positive prompt strategy, find out what the important pieces they wanted in the video, and it was some parts training. They wanted to outline 3 particular parts, what they were called, how they were used, and how they were installed for their scaffolders. And it was a common part that was kind of installed not correctly, so they were constantly saying, "Hey, these guys need to be fitted like this." We went out into the workshop. They had never been on camera before. We shot for probably about 45 minutes. Then that was finished. I had everything done. We produced that. It ended up being an 8-minute video. And we don't believe in too much over 5 minutes, but this was just an example that we shot for them. So 15 minutes to organize what they needed to say. We went out and shot it, and 45 minutes. So in an hour, we had a process that these guys are probably spending, hours on every week talking about, but it's the follow-on spot fires and the other implications of these things not being trained properly. And in saying that, we just started working with the BP garage here locally, and we made 3 videos in about 20 minutes. We looked around their warehouse stacking area, and we did one on the trolley that they need to use so that when they're carrying heavy equipment, and the ladder that they need to use, and then, not to lean away from the ladder. 15 minutes to make 3 little videos.
Yeah.
Not
and going
all the
back
videos.
To that previous example with the was it scaffolding, or what was the business with the previous company example? It's fairly easy maths to work out. Okay, it took an hour to create the video, and they probably waste 2 to 3 hours a week, every week, fixing that problem that this training video would negate. So the maths to work that out is fairly easy. Like it makes a lot of sense to have that in your business. But I think the thing that often gets forgotten about is the client experience. So if there is a video that might be even client facing, that teaches them how to use your product or your service in a more effective and effortless way, the client experience is so much more. The perception of your business in their mind is far more organised, far more professional. There's less angst and trouble. I mean, we were in the post office sending a parcel out yesterday, and there was a poor lady standing at the post office with her, I think it was her Foxtel box. She must have been cancelling Foxtel and sending it back. And the lady at the post office is saying, well, you've got 2 options. You can either put it in the bag with the reply post code that Foxtel have given you, or you can pay for the postage yourself. And the lady was just about in tears, and she said, I've been having a battle with Foxtel for weeks, and they never said anything about this. Now she has to go back and get that, and you could just tell she wasn't a fan of Foxtel. And being able to have, step-by-step training and education for your team to create efficiencies and more effectiveness in your business just makes sense, but also the customer facing stuff as well. Is that something that you do? Is it something you recommend?
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
in what are the instances you use that in?
It, I've got a really good story for this. The first question I ask our business owners is, what do you find yourself constantly having
Yeah.
to explain? And I spoke to a builder a few weeks ago. They build 70 homes a year. And he said, it's not my staff I need to train, it's my clients. And I said, okay, tell me more. And he said, okay, every time we sign a contract, it goes with a document over the, what's it called when you change something? A variation. Yeah.
Variation. It was one of those questions that you knew the answer to
That's
until
right.
somebody
Yeah,
asked
that's
you,
right.
and you
Sorry,
go, "What was that guy's name again?"
that's right. It just split my mind. So a variation comes up. They sign a contract, new home builders, 6 weeks in, and they say, hey, I want to change something. And he said, yeah, that's fine. We'll send you over the variation. It'll cost this and this. And they say, oh, cost? We just want this little thing done. And he says, no, it was in the contract. And he said, that conversation happens every job. So he said, what I want to do is give my contracts, but then go through and find the 5 or 10 things that I'm always having to go and re-explain, and not re-explain, they cause relationship damage because the people feel like they didn't know at the start, and he's put it in the writing. So he said, I want to make 5 to 10 videos that I say, here's my contract, and here's a video to, just to reiterate those main points and iron out any possible I didn't know kind of objections coming. And he said that would save my company thousands every month.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, I could totally imagine that. It's something that we talk about in Builders Business Black Belt all the time. Is in fact, I encourage our members to do it live, but this would put it to a whole nother level of effectiveness, because live is we're going through it once. But if for instance they had, like you say, those 5 to 10 points that always come up, and if there was a video explanation, that shot to an example of it and all of that sort of stuff, so the customer could actually see how that worked and see themselves in that experience, then when our guys then do the live document signing, if you like, running through the contract, it would be the second touch point of those things, and they could go back and say, remember this, you understand that, and then just maybe fill in any of the blanks that were left by the video training. So that it sounds like a great idea. One of the things that we like to do, as I said at the start of the conversation, is to find out a little bit more about the people who are behind these businesses, because we've given you website address. We'll give it again before we get out of here, so people can go and check it out and contact you and have a discussion with you to see whether this is for them. But I think what helps with that is to just find out a little bit more about the people. And so I have generally a couple of questions without notice to find out a little bit about you. And one of the questions that I find really, really interesting is, if you weren't doing what you're doing now, what other occupation or job would you absolutely love to be doing?
It's interesting, carpentry. I actually love it. I love building things. I love having my hands on the tools, and I still dabble a little bit now. If there's a little renovation or something that comes up, I somehow find my way to get there and be part of, be on the tools again. And even around my own house, love putting on a pergola or a deck or that sort of thing. So that's actually a genuine love, to be part of the building industry still.
Yeah, I mean, it's really good to hear that. Yeah, I kind of share that same desire, except I don't have the skill. So I've got all of the tools, I've got all of the gear, and I've I've done my share of decks and pergolas and things like that, and I think they're acceptable. But I just so admire watching somebody who has the skill to make something absolutely perfect and quick like that. That just amazes me. There was a friend of mine who unfortunately died some years ago of cancer, and I reckon he was one of the best shipwrights in the country. And I just used to go to his workshop and watch him turn a couple of chunks of wood into a window frame, or a fiddle around a bench top in a boat or something like that. And it was just artwork, and it would happen so quickly and just so much confidence. So I can certainly share that passion. Something slightly different, but again, nothing to do with your business, more to do with what you like, what you don't like. What you're interested in is you're having dinner at your house, and you're allowed to invite 3 people, living or dead, from anywhere in the world, any time in history. Who would be your 3 guests?
There's a long list, but I would love to have Jim Rohn at my table and Simon Sinek.
Wow.
They're 2 people that I learn a lot from. I consume a lot of information.
Who was the second one? You said Jim Rohn?
And Simon Sinek.
Oh, Simon Sinek, yep.
Yeah.
So one dead, one alive.
And then I'm not sure who the third one would be. I don't have someone on my mind at the moment. This one might be a little bit sentimental, but I'd like to have my pop at the table that I never met. I know a lot about him, but never got to have a conversation. So that could be good for the soul.
Yeah, absolutely. So, tell me why you picked Jim Rohn and Simon Sinek, both of which I'm tremendous fans of, and I think 30 odd years ago when I first started the personal development journey, I think Jim Rohn was probably the second guru that I would have listened to, the second mentor I would have listened to. I think Zig Ziglar was first, and then Jim Rohn. And Jim Rohn is just as relevant today as what he's ever been. But what are some of the things that you've learned from Jim Rohn, perhaps, that you've put into your business?
Yeah, Jim's a good one. The first time I listened to him, my own mental reshaping started about 5 years ago, and then I started to listen to people like Jim Rohn. And the first time I heard him, I thought, who is this character? Who is this American funny guy? He reminded me of Leslie Nielsen from the Naked Gun. And
I've never drawn that comparison.
Well, I don't know why. That's what I got. And it just took me a little moment. I was like, is this guy for real? And then, the next few years just sort of watched and listened to as much as he was giving. One of the things that I took the most, Mick, was life is like the seasons. Winter comes, winter goes, summer comes, summer goes, ups and downs. And that's kind of the biggest one that I've taken from him. And it's, if you're on a down, it's fine. It's coming back. You just got to hang in there. And the other one is to plant and sow the crops to get a reward. Yeah. You can't plant and get a reward. You've got to go and put in some love and some nurturing.
Yeah, can't keep pulling the plant out of the ground to see how the roots are going, I think was one of the things he used to say.
Yeah,
which it is so true. Yet you see so many people wanting to do that with their progress. Pull the plant out to see how the roots are going. What about Simon Sinek? We talk about him quite a bit in Black Belt. Start with Why and Find Your Why were books that were very prevalent in our group. And of the last couple of years, it's been The Infinite Game, and we talk a lot and encourage our members to keep asking the question to find out what their just cause could be.
Yep.
Because, and changing how they approach their business, the difference between a finite game and an infinite game. You get the opportunity each day to decide whether you're going to go win, lose, or whether you're going to go fulfillment. And with the Just Cause, you get the chance every day to feel fulfilled. But, you know, a business is an infinite game, but most people play it in a finite manner. And that causes stress. It causes pressure. It causes problems. It causes you to not enjoy what you're doing. So that's been a very, very powerful influence in our black belt philosophy. What are some of the things you've learnt from Simon?
Yes, start with why is obviously the big one. And that was exactly the first thing that I learnt. It's like, okay, what is this why? That was all news to me. And when I drilled down into, you know, what makes up me, I learnt that I'm a natural creator. I like to invent and bring to life ideas. And I'm not. I have learnt that I'm not the business runner. My scaffolding company was an empire, but when it got to the point where I was maintaining the business, I instantly, you know, I'd almost use the words that my creativity died. So I know that I'm a creator of a business or creator of a lot of things, but and the other thing is a father. I just love being a father to my 3 kids, and that is my why. As long as I'm creating and I'm having the right, you know, the time with my kids that I need, that's my why. And then the other thing is the things that I create, if they benefit others, that's the icing on the cake for me.
Yeah.
So family time, you said, what's my mission earlier? And that's my mission, is to give people back their family time through making these videos. Yeah. It's actually got nothing to do with making videos.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's fantastic to hear. It's like, it's very similar to why we exist in the tool shed, and black belt is that my why was, you know, I'm driven to help people who are experiencing unnecessary pain. It seems that I don't mind when people have to experience necessary pain to learn a lesson. That doesn't seem to bother me much, but when it's unnecessary, that bothers me. And we do whatever we can to help people eliminate the need to experience unnecessary pain. You know, and when you find that out, it makes sense as to why you do things. So two wonderful people that you'd have for dinner. It'd be a fascinating conversation. You know, if you couldn't get your pop, if he's not available that night, invite me, because I'd be there in a heartbeat. That'd be a brilliant conversation. So,
for sure.
Want to thank you for having this conversation. But before we go, can you just fill us in on the steps to reach out to you, and what's involved in figuring out whether what you do with your business is going to be appropriate for the listener?
Yeah, the easiest way to get started with us is a Zoom call, and we can actually just dive into your business. And we have a look, we see whether it's a fit. If it is, we can talk about next steps. It's no obligation. If I can honestly, genuinely help, I'd be more than happy to do that. And the best way to get started is, jump on our website. Contact details are on there. I think I'm going to share the website there. I'm happy to give you the phone number too, Mick, and you can chuck that in the comments.
Yep. We'll definitely put that in the information when the replay comes out and so on. But I guess we just go to multiplyme.com.au for the moment and go to contact.
Yep, go to contact, and there's an email there. That'll come straight to me, and then we can jump on a call straight away. You can actually book a demo straight on the website.
Yeah, I was just noticing that there as well. So you could go grab or just press a button and organise a demo, which might be the way to go as well. Definitely. But I've cruised around the site and looking at the quality of the videos and all that sort of stuff, and it really is. It's compelling viewing, and it looks so easy to consume. You know, it's not somebody there in a white coat and a whiteboard and a clipboard, talking at you to demonstrate how to do stuff. It's on site. It's real people doing real things, and I expect that some of the people in the organisation would recognise the people in the videos as well. So it'll all be very, very familiar. So really appreciate you putting your time aside. It seems like it's a great opportunity. It's a great platform, particularly what you talked about with the simplicity of being able to segregate groups and whatever, so someone's not trolling through a whole heap of videos to try and find what they need. You can put them in sections and make the navigation really easy. And I expect that sort of thing can grow as, you could just keep adding to that as well, I expect.
Yeah. Look, a lot of libraries need a start point. We look at about 10 videos. You said before, how do we get started? If someone wants to get started with us, we do what we call a hit list session, and we actually go into via Zoom. We have a chat about the business, and we look at where the top 10 videos would be that are going to take immediate pressure off. We get those done first, and when you've got about 10 videos, we go to implementing that into the business, and that's where you bring on all your people in your business as members of the platform. We distribute the videos, and then, like you said, a lot of people go onto a creation plan where they just do, one video a month. We jump on a call, we look at the next video, we create it with them, we do the edit, they review. Next month, we do a new one.
Yeah. I suspect, it's very similar to what we talk about in Black Belt is I think that the best way to decide how you're going to create a procedure or a system is let it become obvious. So when something goes wrong, it's like, is there a process for that we've captured? No. we better create one, because I've found if you just start creating procedures for the hell of it, it's almost like teaching people how to suck eggs, and it's like they don't appreciate it. So if they already know how to do stuff, great. But if that knowledge needs to be transferred, it needs to be captured. Or if there is a problem in our current procedures and we need to create consistency, we need to have that process captured and constantly have discussions about how we can improve it, and update your procedure library. So, but as I said, this has been wonderful. I love the idea. I'm right into video and audio and all that sort of stuff, probably far too deeply for most people. It's got me into trouble. I've spent far too much money on equipment, and you don't need to do that these days. So, like, that's the thing. You can get some awesome stuff just out of your phone, audio and video. But
well, this business couldn't have existed, 10 years ago, because there wasn't the technology. But the timing's right now. With a little bit of training from us and someone's phone, the video creation and distribution now has never been easier.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. So just like to, again, thank you for putting your time aside, sharing your knowledge. It's absolutely been fantastic. So I hope, folks, you enjoyed this episode of The Tool Shed with all of this information about how you can save a bunch of time, a bunch of money, a bunch of frustration, make your business significantly more effective, have your customers' experience improved just by implementing systems and processes on video, which is really the way that most people like to consume their content these days. So jump on multiplyme.com.au, reach out to Luke, and I'm sure he'll look after you. So that's it for this episode of The Tool Shed. We'll be talking to you again some stage in the future with another episode. Bye for now.